Hi there, welcome to Gamers Web. My name is Mark, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Dead Man's Hand expansion bundle from Great Escape Games. Let's check it out. Okay, welcome back. As I said in the intro, I'm going to take a look at the Dead Man's Hand expansion bundle from Great Escape Games. These normally retail at £20 each, and at the moment Great Escape have got an offer on where you buy Legion, Curse and Down Under for £30, which is absolutely awesome. So the products have been out for a while, but they're brand new to me, so let's kick off things in style. We'll start off with the Legend of Dead Man's Hand. Okay, so blood will be spilled, lives will be lost, fortunes will be made, men will be ruined. The Legend of Dead Man's Hand is the campaign sourcebook in which players take a gang of no-good crooks or a posse of untried but honest good men and endeavour to make their mark on the Old West. Rivals develop business schemes or criminal enterprises, gain skills and experience, expand the size of their respective bands and engage in plenty of Wild West gunplay in their rise to glory or the descent to an early grave or the bottom of a bottle. Legend of Dead Man's Hand contains the rules for running multiplayer campaigns, 11 new scenes including multi-gang shootouts, 4 new gang types, banditos, renegades, Indians, 7th Cavalry and Pinkertons. And it also comes with a unique deck of cards as well. Okay, so let's have a quick look in. Dead Man's Hand is an awesome game, and I'm really eager to expand and play on the game. I've been busily printing out stuff from Join or Die, from 3D Breed, which I'll leave a link to in the description. The miniatures are amazing. They're really, really good and very, very good as proxies for Dead Man's Hand. Okay, so we get the book, as you can see here. I'm just going to centre the book a bit. And we also get a set of cards as well. You get a set of cards in each of these 3 expansions. So I'll just have a quick look at the cards first, and then we'll look at the book. If I can open the pack. Right, so these are unique face cards by the looks of things. Yeah, so you've got an ace, a queen, king, and jokers. Is it a joker? No, it's a jack, sorry. So play at the beginning of the turn before any models are activated, discard all cards in your hand and draw fresh cards. Quite a good one. And then play at any time, any model that was within 20 centimetres of a bugler or officer following its activation removes its under fire markers. Right, so I think these must all be for the 7th, they must be for the 7th Cavalry, and then the other ones are for the Pinkertons or for the bandits. But it'll tell you how to use the cards in the actual book itself. So without further ado, we shall jump into that once I put these cards back into the little bag so I don't lose them. Okay, so we've got a Bandito leader on the front cover. Looks quite cool. And then we have got, as always with the guys from Great Escape, both with Dead Man's Hand and sorry, just make sure this is in focus. With Dead Man's Hand and with Chicago Away, we get a really cool thing, which is on your first page you get a breakdown of how to actually play your game, which is dead simple and dead good. Okay, so contents, we've got a story so far, which sets up your campaign, setting up your gangs, schemes, effects of schemes, campaign directions, which scenes to play, death and injury, fame, becoming a legend, campaign events, new gangs, which will include the Banditos, the Renegade Indians, Pinkertons and 7th Cavalry. And then we have our proper scenes at the end. So we have Ballad of Dead Man's Hand, Let Blood Run Down, The Dawn It Will Come, and the Dead Man's Hand Massacre, and a Rogues Gallery. And then there's rules for wagons, using 2 pistols, using citizen gangs, and using the roster, and then the credits at the end. Okay, so as always, littered with some amazing pictures of the miniatures, painted by, most likely by Kev Delamo, who is definitely one of the best miniature painters around in the Hobbit in general, entirely in fact. A lot of people dote on the guys from Games Workshop, who are all really good artists, but Kev Delamo makes his models zing, they look real. Okay, so we've got a sample gang here, setting up your gang. So we've got Ramke's Brigade Desperados, and we've also got Virgil's Vigilantes, the Lawmen. And then, so what is he known for? This is not something that's just been added, that's not in the core rules. So we've got our weapons, hits, nerves, shoot, hand to hand, and rep, which are all in Dead Man's Hand. But what he's known for? Being a boss? Nothing. He's not known for anything. We've got schemes, right? So schemes are an integral part of campaign play. The following laws provide the rules for schemes, and the laws are in order of priority. For example, if a player has horses, law 3, then this takes precedent over law 4. Okay, so law 1, gang must always have at least one scheme on its roster. Gang 2, to win a campaign, the gang must have at least 3 operable schemes. Law 3, owning horses allows the gang to retain twice as many schemes as it has gang members. Law 4, gangs may never have more schemes than gang members. And Law 5, you may have no more men than the number of schemes plus 4. Okay, so basically the way that schemes work is they add a narrative to your campaign game. They basically drive your campaign forward and give you extra benefits. So we've got common schemes here. So if you've got let's say a saloon or a cat house or a ranch, we have an effect of 2 is a reputation of 0, 3 to 8 is +1, a queen is +2, and a king is +3. The gunsmith, doctor, lawyer, land registrar, so these are all are tied to a particular area. As far as I'm aware, I think that let's have a look. We go back. Driven by enterprising men of the Old West, won their fame or infamy through ruthless exploitation of people and resources. In Legend of Dead Man's Hand, gangs participate in business, political, and criminal schemes to influence the wealth. Right, and influencing the reputation score. So these are things that will actually increase your influence and your reputation within the game, which is quite cool. Okay, so we've got common schemes, we've got lawman schemes, we've got outlaw schemes, cowboys, desperados, banditos, which are the new gang for this one, renegade Indians, Pinkertons, and 7th Cavalry. And then how schemes will affect gameplay. We've also got campaign directions. So you generate your name of your gang and your characters and draw a scouting scheme. Play a scene? No. Oh no, it goes this way around, doesn't it? Yeah. Determine when to allocate fame? No. You play a scene. Check if any gang has a rep of 31 or higher and has at least 3 schemes. If they do, campaign ends. And then we just go round and round until we get to the actual points to actually win the campaign. Okay, more great artwork. Which scene to play. And then we've got things about death and injury here, because normally you just roll the dice. If you get somebody taken out, they're taken out, but they normally can come back for the next game. Here we've got an actual thing of what that can happen. So 2 to 10 in their own suit, it's normally a flesh wound. But if we carry on going along, we've got from another suit, it will be a 2, 3, and a 4 would be dead, and you remove them from your roster. A 5, you're shot in the eye, you're on a -1 to shoot, and you're a -1 on your reputation. You developed a yellow streak on 6, +1 to nerve, but -2 or -1 to reputation, or that could be -0.5. I think it'd be -1 or 2. Gave me a leg, shot to bits, need to keep his boots off for a while, which means you miss a scene. At death's door. Mark for greatness, which gives you a +1 or +2 reputation, and you may draw 2 further cards and choose one. Impressive scars, gunning for revenge, touched by fate, and gunned down like a dog. which is the Joker, which means you are dead and removed from the place. So out of all of them, four of them give you a chance to be dead, and you use this, I think, using a full pack of cards, because obviously use a full deck of cards instead of just the normal cards that you use for your own suit. Okay, we've got the rules for fame and how to become a legend. So when you become a legend, you can increase your profile. You can have a maximum of 6 hits, a +1 nerve, +6 shoot, and a +6 hand-to-hand, which some of the characters already start off quite high. Some can start off with like 4 or 5. So we're getting +6 is only just going up by 1. But we do have our experience tables for henchmen, citizens, lawmen, outlaws, cowboys, and then we'll have the others like Desperados, Bandito, Renegade Indian, Pinkerton, and 7th Cavalry. And just for a quick one, a Jack card for Renegade Indian is Speed of Puma, maybe 15 centimeters with each action, step 10, and you get a +1 or +2 reputation. Actually, I think that is a plus half reputation, not +1 or +2. A king is may use a shoot action to throw a knife, tomahawk. This may only be only the shoot action of the turn, but the character also has his shoot and hand-to-hand scores to the roll. Maximum range is 20 +2, which is quite good because the Renegade Indians have got very good stats, as we'll see later on. Okay, so we got a table here of what you're known for. So gambler, calm under fire, stern constitution, automatically loses 1 under fire marker at the end of each turn, and that's very good. Heartless killer, first shot every turn counts as aimed, may use aim action in conjunction with this ability. I can see that Roland and Eric are going to have really good fun with this, especially when we get the Mexicans and then the Renegade Indians on the board. Okay, so campaign events obviously follows the constructive narrative of a campaign, and then we have our first of our gangs. So we've got Banditos. For years we have watched men heading south into Mexico to escape the law. We have walked a different path all our lives. This path has led us north to the streets of Dead Man's Hand. The north is full of rich cattle barons and banks bursting with so much money and gold they struggle to keep it all in. We're here to help them out, taking the burden from the weak to carry it and protect it for themselves, or those who carry it weak to carry and protect it themselves. Okay, so roster for details is half your gang must be armed with at least a pistol as their sole ranged weapon, so you can't have more than 4 with without a pistol. So at least half of them have to have a pistol. So 4 out of 3 I'd have to have them, because gangs are normally 7. So we have your first leader is your honcho. He's got 5 hits, nerve +2, shoot of +1, hand-to-hand of 0, and a rep of 6. And he's got a plethora of pistols, which means he has only can be armed with pistols, but he never gets out of ammo because he's always got so many pistols around. And then we've got other things here. We've got strength in numbers. Whenever comes upon to make an ambush, to nerve test against shooting, the target gets -1 bonus if the Bandito player has more models on the gaming table. And the special for the Banditos is ambush. Play at the start of the game. After models have been set up, the Bandito player may remove a dude from game. This model has been set up in ambush. At the start of any turn, before initiative cards are placed, this model may be set up anywhere on the gaming table as long as it's not within 20 centimeters of an enemy. Quite good. And then we've got the card specifics, which are the ones that are in the pack, and they've got a little mustache on the cards, which is quite cool. Renegade Indians, and as you can see, the Renegade Indians, if you look at the stats from the Banditos, they're quite tough, but they're normally armed with hand-to-hand weapons rather than ranged weapons. Okay, so for too long my people have pushed around by the White Devil. Our traditions, our way of life have been crushed under the iron hoof as it makes progress from east to west. No more. We have taken the white man's ways and his weapons and brought them to war. We will take our place at the white man's table. We will eat his food, drink his fire water, and take his guns. These guns we will use to take our land back one turn at a time. Okay, so I've got a massive thing for Native American culture, excuse me, and I'm really looking forward to getting my Renegade Indians up and playing, because I've got lots of them now. I've been printing them like a demon. Okay, so we have a chief, a dog soldier, 2 warriors, and 0 to 4 braves. As the same with other gangs, you need to have at least half of your gang must be armed with a pistol as their sole long-range weapon. So you can't really harm them with shotguns. You can arm up to 2 of them with repeater rifles, a repeater or a rifle. The hand-to-hand weapons, all Indian renegades with pistols as their sole weapon are armed with a fighting knife, tomahawk, war club or similar close combat weapon. They get a +1 to their hand-to-hand fight value, which is pretty good, because most people apart from the bosses normally have a hand-to-hand fight of 0. Okay, keen as her, once per turn, a model may move 20 centimeters when using a duck back interpretation instead of the normal 10. And the special thing is counting coup. This ability may be used once per game. When an opposing model is killed by one of yours in hand-to-hand combat, the killer makes an immediate 10 centimeter move. If the move results in getting close combat, base contact with another enemy, an immediate hand-to-hand fight is resolved. If the target of this attack survives and has not yet activated, he may break off from combat. Alright, cool. But I don't think that you can actually move 10 centimeters, attack, kill that guy, move 10 centimeters, attack, do the next one. I think there's a rule that is covered in the FAQs that stop people from doing that. And of course they get their things. So Pinkertons are the law enforcement detective agency that was set up in the West. So many people describe the Pinkertons detective agency as nothing more than a gang of hired thugs, men who bring justice at a price. I say that my men and I are often the only thing that stands between the injustices of all types. Sometimes the good men of the world cannot be found when they are needed, and it stands to other men to make the difference. A brave professional will not waver in the face of impossible odds. My men cannot be swayed by emotion. They stick to the task no matter what it is. Okay, so Pinkertons, we've got a special agent, 0 to 1 bounty hunter, +2 detectives, and 0 to 4 night watchmen. They're very similar to the FBI models stats that you get for Chicago Way. So they're relentless. Once per game for a single turn, all Pinkerton models may ignore negative modifiers of nerve tests. And we never sleep. Once per turn, one Pinkerton that has line of sight to an opposing model may make a free move action as long as it brings him closer to the enemy. This move does not affect the model's 3 actions in any way, including shooting modifiers. That's very, very good. That can cause a lot of problems, especially if you're playing against cowboys, because cowboys tend to get the bum deal compared to the other factions. The next faction we've got is going to be the 7th Cavalry. Okay, we bring justice to the far reaches of this country. Whether pacifying the savages or running down gangs of outlaws, we are the symbol of the United States for all to see. For many, this symbol is something to fight against. They buck against the inevitability of civilization that follows in our wake. These men must either change or be changed, and we will be there as that agent of change. So again, these guys are quite good in shooting and hand-to-hand combat. So you can actually have an Indian fighter among these guys, so you can take one of your renegade Indians and actually have him in as a dog soldier. Okay, so the sword is the officer is armed with a sword, which allows him to force a reroll on a hand-to-hand score against his opponent. You have an NCO. It seems without an officer, one trooper acts as an NCO, receiving a -1 bonus to his nerve. Bugle. The bugle adds a +1 to any additional big nerve test that need to be taken, and this ability works whether the officer is present or not. Drilled and cavalry. So for one-off games, 7 cavalry troopers may be mounted in the final scenes at a cost of 1 per rep instead of 3, and the rules for horses are a bit further on. I got more scenes, so we've got the Ballad of Dead Man's Hand, Let the Blood Run Down, The Dawn It Will Come, Dead Man's Hand Massacre, and the Battle of Dead Man's Hand. And I'm not going to go into too much because like the scenes speak for themselves, they follow on narratively. They've all got some amazing artwork with these wonderful foreground buildings, all the attention to detail, like a little lamp on the desk with a ledger. Brilliant. I love Kev Delamore's work. I would give anything to be able to paint as well as that gent. Let the Blood Run Down, The Dawn It Will Come, and Battle of Dead Man's Hand. And then we've got special rules. We've got a Rose Gallery, so we've got a couple of special characters here. We've got Eli Fergus. Stories concerning Fergus, past are many and varied. Some say there's half-breed, a mix of escaped slave and Apache Indian. The only thing anybody is sure is that he's a mean, tough son of a gun and a crack shot with his repeater. He works for the railroad, keeping the peace amongst the people who travel with his iron horse as it cuts its way across east-west. So he's got a hits of 4, nerve of 3, shoot of 2, a hand-to-hand of 1, and a rep of 4, and he's a pugilist. So he gets a +1 to his attribute bonus for hand-to-hand and suffers 1 less under fire marker when beaten in hand-to-hand. And he's a crack shot with his rifle and gets a +2 bonus with his repeater. No additional bonuses gained from his pistol. Then we have John Bridges. There are many types of men who wear the badge of the US Marshal, and then there's John Bridges. He's the meanest and he's a pitiless man, double tough and fear don't enter into his thinking. I think that should be doubt. Doesn't enter his thinking, as he himself always says, I never shoot, nobody I didn't have to. He's armed with pistol. He's got hits of 5, nerve of 2+, shooter +1, hand-to-hand of 0, and a rep of 6. He's got True Grit as one of his skills, which he suffers no negative modifiers for a shooting for a nerve test. And for having under fire markers, he doesn't suffer the -1 penalty for having move actions. Oh, sorry. Having problems with my cough because of COVID. I had COVID months ago and I'm still trying to get over the residual effects of it. Okay, so we've got special rules now for wagons. For 2 pistols. So 2 pistols, if you've got a model that's armed with 2 pistols, it can ignore an out of ammo result. This has no effect for the few bullets more card. So if somebody plays that card, it doesn't counter it. You can use citizens in your gangs now, and you can use the roster. And then at the back, we have got our rules and all our credits for who's written the book and all the artists and stuff like that. The miniature concept designers, makeup. Let's have a look. Right, I can't see Kev Delamore's name there, but I'm positive it was Kev who did the artwork on the miniatures. If I'm wrong, please forgive me, but it really looks like Kev Delamore's art. And then finally we have a gang's roster at the end. Okay, so that's a quick look at the Legend of Dead Man's Hand. So next up, we're going to look at another book, which is Dead Man's Hand Down Under. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to look through the cards, but the cards are the same. They've all got the special bonuses for your particular gangs. So this is Dead Man's Hand Down Under. And on the back we get, things seem different here. They say God made Australia last, don't you know, after he got tired of making everything else the same. Dead Man's Hand Down Under takes place a long way from the frontier of the Old West, although the geography has changed and the things that drive men hasn't. Our final instalment takes us down under to the land of to the frontier towns of Australia, where bush rangers battle the state police and legends like Ned Kelly are born. Ned Kelly. The land is hard and unforgiving as the Old West, and so are the people. So neck your glass of smoky rum, give your Sheila a kiss, and grab your gun and get into the fight. And it's got 12 new scenarios, 3 new gang types, which are State Police, Bush Rangers and the Kelly Gang. And it also comes with a deck of cards. Okay, so this is the one that I was least interested in the things, because I'm not really interested in this period of time, but the models look great. So, apologies. I'm sorry, anyone who crosses the Kelly Gang will face a terrible, almost unstoppable foe. As you can see, the Kelly Gang have all got stuff over their heads because they're armoured. Okay, so our contents are, we've got the story so far, author's notes on Down Under, and then 3 new gangs. We have 4 new scenes, which are No Rest for the Wicked, Last Train to Nowhere, Right Guy in the Wrong Place, and Bloody Thicker Than Water, and a Rogues Gallery. Okay, so story 4 so far, talking about the expansion to Dead Man's Hand is a story in 3 parts, a trilogy. The opening began with the 4 groups of battling through the streets, bringing as much chaos and confusion as justice. Lawmen and cowboys took to the streets to shoot it out, and outlaws, desperados, each other. The scene was set, the rules laid down, and what followed moved into legend, which we'll look at in a moment. And then, actually, we've just looked at. We've also got another book, which we'll look at in a second, but this is the 3rd part of the trilogy. So, as I said, we moved the scene to Australia, and we are now down under. So it plays very similar because of the way that Australia in the 1900s into the early 20th century was, because it was pretty lawless until probably about 1910, 1914, when it started to get a little bit more civilized. Okay, so our gangs, we got an author's note there from Stuart, which tells us all about why they chose this. Okay, following pages contain all the information for the use of the new gangs. So we've got the Kelly Gang. At first glance, these guys look awesome. They cannot be killed outright by shooting. They have a better nerve than other gangs, and Ned is on the table. They pass nerve tests automatically. What's not to like? There are a couple of obvious disadvantages to their armour. They are slow for starters, only taking 2 move actions. May not seem to be a disadvantage when you can soak up more fire than normal, but be aware it gives your opponent opportunity to gang up on your men. Right, I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, sorry about that. The joys of residual coughing left over from COVID. Okay, so we've got the description of the 3 gangs, the Kelly Gang, the State Police and the Bush Rangers. And we'll start off with the Kelly Gang. Okay, so we have Ned Kelly as our leader of the Kelly Gang. He's got 2 pistols and armour. He's got 5 hits. He doesn't take nerve tests. He's got a shooter +1, hand-to-hand of 0 and a rep of 6. And then we've got 1 brother, which will most likely be one of Ned Kelly's brothers. He's got him with a pistol and armour, and the followers around with pistols and armour. So by the looks of things, they can't be armed with shotguns or rifles or repeaters, which puts them at a definite disadvantage. The stats aren't that brilliant, but I don't think they're that crap really. +2 shooting, +2 nerve for 4 hits for the brother, kind of puts them on par with a normal second in command. Weight down when laid, all models wearing armour can only make 2 move actions and cannot duck back. Bulletproof, models wearing armour cannot be killed outright by a 19+ result on the shoot table. This always counts as a marker. This always counts as a marker and a nerve test. I don't understand that, but I'll reread it. Models wearing armour cannot be killed outright on a 19+ result on the shooting table. This always counts as a marker and a nerve test. Right, yeah. So you put a marker down on them to say that they've been attacked and make a nerve test. Which in Ned Kelly's case you won't fail because it doesn't affect him. Slow underfoot. They cannot jump gaps or climb surfaces without a suitable ladder or staircase, which is understandable because they've got buckets on their heads. And then the bunyip, when Ned is on the table, none of the Kelly Gang needs to make a nerve test for any reason. This includes big nerve tests for the whole, for the gang as a whole. That is quite a nasty talent to have. And then we've got schemes here for adding onto our campaign, and an experience table. Then we've got the state police. With the captain comes his own brand of justice. His dedication to upholding the law is instilled in his men who face down any who challenge them. His determination is matched by a willingness to do whatever it takes to get the job done, matching persistence with vengeance in equal measure. He and his men cause fear in all those who oppose him. Right, so back in the late 1900s, early 20th century, most of Australia was a pretty lawless place. For a long while, Britain sent a lot of its convicts to Australia. So a lot of Australia was settled by convicts, and as such kind of developed its own moral codes and justice, because most of the people who were living there were either convicts or those sent to look after the convicts and their descendants. There's quite a few programs that you can watch to learn more about this type of thing. Ned Kelly is a prime example. There's quite a lot of books around about this time of era, this period of time. Anyway, okay, so we've got a captain, 1 sergeant, 2 officers and 4 troopers. Captain is hits 5, nerve 2, shoot 1, hand to hand 0, and rep 6. And the sergeant, he's not too bad. He's got a nerve of +3, which is quite good. I've kept the company with bad men all my life. Any character having to take a nerve test or big nerve test that as a member of state police gang within 10 centimetres suffers an additional -1 to the roll. And the special ability is I will civilise this land. While the captain's alive, they never have to take a big nerve test. Much like Ned Kelly, if he's on the board, you don't have to take a nerve test. Then we have our state police schemes and experience table. And then our final gang is the bush rangers. The bush rangers are some of the meanest types you're ever likely to come across. They have left the world behind and taken up a life of crime, living in the most desperate parts of the land. They feel that they are out of reach of the law and society at large. They distance themselves from others, having taken its toll on any moral values they may have once held, or may have once had. For them, life is cheap and best lived fast and wild. Okay, so we've got a patriarch, a wild boy, some felons, and some swagmen. Patriarch is not too bad. He's got a hits of 5, nerve of 2, and a shooter +1. And the wild boy is very similar to the sergeant from the state troopers. Okay, the army muskets can only fire once per turn and always out of ammo after firing. Any hit from a musket that doesn't automatically take a character out of action causes an under fire marker and a nerve test on the firing table. Okay, so you can harm half your guys with muskets, and a musket has got a point blank range of not available. It's closest 0 to 40 centimeters and long to 41 centimeters. 41 plus. Fight before surrender. Bush ranger uses all 3 actions to shoot. They may remove 1 under fire marker from the shooter. Live off the land. At the beginning of each turn, after initial cards are played, but before any models are activated, the Bush Ranger player may move any one of their models 1 free move action. This is outside of normal rules and doesn't count for movement or shooting purposes, so they get a free move. So they're going to be a little bit easier to take out than the other 2 gangs. Bush Ranger schemes and our effects experience, sorry. So we've got 4 scenes. We've got No Rest for the Wicked, Last Train to Nowhere, The Right Guy in the Wrong Place, and Bloody Stick on Water. And then we've got all the setup for each of those schemes, again with some great artwork. And that takes us all the way through to the end of the book. And we've got a rogues gallery, so we've got Jonathan Payne and Roy Magma, and then some more pictures. I'm not going to read through the special characters on that because I don't want this video to be too long. It's already getting longer as it is. Okay, so our final book in the bundle from the wonderful folks over at Great Escape Games, is The Curse of Dead Man's Hand. Now, one of my favourite games of all time, a game that I absolutely love, is Wild West Exodus. It's a brilliant game, it's got an amazing background on it. This basically allows me to play something similar to Wild West Exodus without playing Wild West Exodus, and a lot quicker, because Wild West Exodus can take a wee while to set things up. Dead Man's Hand's dead quick. It's a very quick game. Okay, so we get our game. We also get a set of cards as well, and the cards all have their own unique properties on them. The Ungodly, Holy Bullets. Before resolving a single model shoot action for the turn, any shots taken are automatically as an additional +2 to hit. Right. Okay, so Curse of Dead Man's Hand. There is an evil moving through the land, a curse. Communities large and small alike are being destroyed. Towns are being torn apart. People are being killed and worse. The curse has finally come to Dead Man's Hand. Getting together anybody who you can. Get together anybody you can. Time is pretty petty. Oh, right. Sorry, I'm trying to read this over my camera, so it's really difficult. The Curse of Dead Man's Hand has finally come to Dead Man's Hand. Get together anybody you can. Time has come to put petty rivals aside and stand together against an enemy who will show you no mercy and will take none of it from you at all, without leaving you with nothing, even your soul. Notes from Dead Man's Hand at the top of the 4th. The Baron was a voodoo priest called Duty Bokerman, who fought with Desolate Irons during the Haitian Revolution. He was responsible for the drowning of hundreds of French prisoners after the Battle of Vitries. He was cursed to atone for his sins and lead 1,000 damned souls on a procession to hell. Now, I don't know why Dead Man's Hand is a place he had to do all this, but I'm telling you, y'all, that he's going to have a reckoning with the devil himself. Okay, so it comes with the cards, as we say, and there's the Baron. Let's have a quick look in. Okay, so this brings in a supernatural element to Dead Man's Hand, and we're going to have things like Wendigos and Manitous and zombies and other things. Let me just check this is in focus. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, so we've got the story so far, which we had in the last book. Play the campaign, the gangs, the ungodly creatures, forces of good, Curse of Dead Man's Hand, the rules, and then our scenes at the back. Okay, so story so far, this tells you how we've gone on from what's been going on in Dead Man's Hand, and the Legend of Dead Man's Hand, and of course, if you want to include it, you could always use the Down Under as well, I guess, because you know these creatures could exist down there. Okay, so we've got special rules. We've got ungodly. Ungodly models fear little and automatically pass any nerve tests unless indicated by a card or special rules such as Yellow Belly. Terrifying. Anybody who wishes to enter hand-to-hand combat or attack in a hand-to-hand combat by a terrifying character must pass a nerve test. Undead gangs. There are 2 new undead gangs in the Curse which feature an undead cast. There's the Baron's gang, which is the Baron is uninterested in the petty squabbles of his men. His aim is far sinister. He simply wants to destroy the world of man, enslave its population, and control them to do his bidding. With that in mind, his gang works a slightly different way when playing Dead Man's Hand. In a standard game, the usual scenarios don't reflect the Baron's interests. When playing one-off games, select games were from the narrative campaign on page 22 and play 2 or 3 in a session. Right, so they basically you got special rules for playing as the undead guys. Okay, so we've got the Malevolent 7, which is a take on the Magnificent 7 and the Living and the Undead. The Malevolent 7 are the Baron's worst nightmare. They're hunting the Baron, attempting to take him back to hell and free their souls. They basically work as a normal gang does, although they'll look a lot scarier. Okay, and then we've got Ungodly Creatures. You can use them as part of Garen's gang, and you can use them as random encounters. And then playing Legend of Dead Man's Hand campaign tells us how we sit down and play the game. So So we've got the Baron himself. He's got antique pistols, can fire 1 shot per turn, always out of ammo after firing. Anything hit from an antique pistol that doesn't automatically take a character out of action causes an under fire marker and a nerf test on a result firing table, which is pretty standard. Point blank range of 0 to 10, close of 10 to 20, and there's no long range, and he gets +2 at point blank. And he gets quite a lot of things. He's got a hits of 6, no nerf because he doesn't fear anything. He's got +1 shoot, +1 hand to hand, and 6 rep. Baron is everything. If the Baron is killed, then his control over all creatures within the host is lost, and they all return to dust, and the game is over. So basically, you take him out, and everything just crumbles around him. Got a Murder of Crows at the beginning of the turn. Before any initiative cards are dealt, the Baron nominates 1 building. A Murder of Crows descends upon that building, making it impossible for any opposing models to be on the roof. The Juggernaut is subject to all normal rules for the cursed, and will follow the following sections. Activates on the same card as the Baron. The player chooses whether the Baron or the Juggernaut moves first. For initiative purposes, they count as 1 figure. He must always be within 20 centimeters of the Baron. All out of action results on the shooting table count as an under fire marker. Then we've got the Baron's powers. He can raise the dead. We've got Voodoo Doll, tarot cards, and then we've got another character which is the Witch. She can cast lightning bolts, and we've got these undead guys here, which are basically they're only armed with fingers and teeth. They don't have guns. So the only thing that's got a ranged attack there is the Witch and the Baron. So we've got schemes and experience for the Baron, and then we've got the Malevolent 7. So basically, I take on the Magnificent 7, although they've all got skulls because they're all dead. Okay, and they are armed with pistols or shotguns or pistol or repeater rifle. They're ungodly, they fear little and ultimately pass any nerf tests unless indicated by the card, as we mentioned. They're terrifying and they're maligned. When dealing out the hand at the beginning of the turn of the scene, Malevolent 7 receive half the number of normal cards rounded up. So again, when they receive 5 cards, they receive 3. And you can discard a card in order to draw a new one, even if they pass one, play one in that turn. Right. Schemes and experience. Then we have our Mountain Men, our Grizzly Adams types, the guys who live up in the hills. We've got, they're armed with muskets, which is similar to the muskets in the Ned Kelly gang, that they always out of ammo after firing. Or you can arm them with a buffalo rifle, which has got a massive range, 60 centimeters range at close. That's like phenomenal. 0 to 60 at close range. And it's only got a max shot of 1. The specials are Lay of the Land. They always count as having the initiative as a draw. Mountain Men, suit of stiffened skin. Mountain Men always suffer 1 less damage when they're losing hand-to-hand combat. This could result in them taking no damage. And Knife Fighter, Mountain Men are armed with a pistol and a knife and can re-roll their hand-to-hand score if they wish. The second roll applies. We've got the 2 schemes and experience, and then we've got the 7, which are the living versions of the Malevolent 7. So these are basically the Magnificent 7. And we have got Bryn, Stevie, Robbie, Jimmy, Charlie, Dex, and Horse. Okay, so basically, Bryn is Yul Brynner, Stevie is Steve McQueen, Robbie is Robert Wagner, Jimmy is James. Bryn's gone. Charlie is Charles Bronson. I'm not sure who Dex is. Jimmy. James Colburn is Jimmy. Not sure who Dex is, and I'm not sure who Horse is. But they are the Magnificent 7 from the movie The Magnificent 7. And if you're playing Dead Man's Hand, rewatch Magnificent 7. It's brilliant. Well worth picking up and watching. Even the new version with Chris Pratt is still pretty good. And then we've got the schemes for the Magnificent 7 and their experience. which is slightly different. We've got ungodly creatures. We've got cannibal dwarves, which are is it the Hecusite, which are little people, or they're a Native American myth, and they've got 2 hits, but I think that's each value for a miniature. Yeah, each miniature's got 2 hits. They are ungodly, terrifying, and vengeful. We have a Stormcrow, which is a Native American thing again. That's got ungodly, terrifying, and leap. We've got a Haunted Bear, which is a bear that's undead. We've got Dread Wolves. We have got a Wendigo, and we have got Carrion Corpse, or Corpse Carrion. And then we've got the Forces of Good. So we've got a Buffalo Man, we've got a Mountain Lion, we've got Shavo Death Hunter, who is is a Comanche. I'm not sure if he's Comanche or Apache, and he's been fighting against the Baron. And then we've got the Curse of Dead Man's Hand itself and how the scenarios work. So we've got all the scenes. Dust and Bones, The God That Failed, Bad Meets Evil, Creeping Death, Where Wild Things Are, Meet Your Master, and Things That Never Should Be. And then that's the end of the book. Right, so that is a quick look through these 3 wonderful books. I'm really looking forward to reading them properly, and I'll do a proper written review of all 3 of these. But The Legend of Dead Man's Hand, Dead Man's Hand Down Under, and The Curse of Dead Man's Hand, along with the cards that you get for each faction, are normally £20 each. But if you make your way over to the Great Escape Games website, which I will leave a link to in the description, it's greatescapegames.co.uk, I think, but I'll leave a link in the description. You can pick this bundle up for £30 right now. And all kudos to Stuart and the guys over at Great Escape Games. I ordered this on Friday when the notification went up on Facebook, on the Facebook group, saying that they were back in stock and they were doing this for £30. I ordered it on Friday and it arrived on Saturday. So fantastic. Right, okay, so enough waffling from me. Thanks for tuning in. And my name's Mark. Keep on playing Dead Man's Hand. If you've not played it before, check it out. It's a brilliant game. All that remains for me to say is, no matter where you are in the world, please stay safe, look after yourself, and we'll hopefully catch you soon. Thanks a lot, and bye.